Alright, so Joe Biden and his radical Democratic Party have had the ardor, they've had the avarice to call for unity time and time again, yet Joe Biden calls half the country deplorables. He calls half the country Neanderthals, basically retards, because obviously they have the capacity to do so. And then you have the left. They always tend to call for things such as, oh, we're never going to cancel the other side, yet they go ahead and they cancel Gina Carano from The Mandalorian because her clarity was affiliated with conservatism. They cancel Dr. Seuss, they cancel The Cat in the Hat, they cancel Mr. Potato Head. Nowadays you can't use the prefixes Mr. and Miss because they're obscure. They don't make sense anymore according to the left and their sagaciousness. But they cancel anyone they disagree politically with, and they did so yesterday. My name is Anthony Gonzalez, and this is Constitutional Freedom.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Together, we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you. God bless
President
America.
Donald
So, obviously, cancel culture is something, it's a very arduous thing that's occurring in our country today. And, yesterday actually, President Trump was with, daughter-in-law Laura Trump. Laura Trump was with her father-in-law. And they were doing a podcast like we're doing today.
Exactly.
There was, I think, it was a little bit more alluring. It was a little bit,
Yeah.
it's probably going to be better.
Yeah.
Obviously,
So
they
there's
have the
Trump, of
more
course.
supercilious equipment and all that, but Instagram and Facebook sent an email to Laura Trump when the podcast was finished. I actually ended up watching it, but I couldn't watch it on Facebook. I couldn't watch it on Instagram. I couldn't watch it on YouTube. She has her own site called therightView.com. And so I went on there. I watched it. It was 18 minutes long. It was pretty good. It was obviously very propitious.
Of course.
But that email from Instagram and Facebook said that they were going to start removing any videos from anyone that has President Trump's voice on it. So they were going to ban you, they were going to shadow ban you, they were going to ban any video, they were going to cloister you from their social media platform if they heard President Trump's voice in any of your videos. I would note that the left, time and time again, has said that there's no such thing as cancel culture, that it doesn't exist, that it's just not real, that we are citing an insurrection, like they like to say, there's no insurrection. Oh, cancel culture is real. Oh, it's real. You can't go on Fox News if you're a conservative. Can't go on CNN without getting called a liar by saying you're conservative pantsuit. You can't go on social media and write a caption saying we will make America great again. You can't go to school and give your own conservative opinions, because if you do so, you'll probably be expelled from school. So my question to the leftists, to the libtards as I like to call them, what is your definition of the word cancel culture? Assiduously, what definition do you have of cancel culture? Because in my own sagaciousness, I think cancel culture means canceling those who disagree with you politically. If you take a look at Gina Carano from The Mandalorian, she got sequestered from The Mandalorian because she was a conservative. And you take a look at Dr. Seuss or Mr. Potato Head or the Cat in the Hat, all of a sudden, they're all racists. They were canceled not because they are, and I quote, racists, because that's duplicitous. They were canceled because the people who created those characters voted for President Trump. That is the reason they were canceled. So if you go out in society nowadays, society itself has become much more of an ignominy. If you go out in society and you say, look, I voted for President Trump, you will get lynched, your family will be threatened, BLM, the rioters of BLM will come and kill you. Antifa will go to your house, they'll throw bricks inside your windows as they did to Senator Josh Hawley. And the reason he did that, it's a really infractuous reason, and if you take a look at it meticulously, it should put anyone, regardless of their political opinions, in a state of acrimoniousness.
Yeah.
They attacked Senator Hawley and his, I think at the time, 6 months. He had a daughter that was 6 months, and his wife, who were alone in their home. And you had, I think, 100 Antifa terrorists throw bricks inside their house, while his daughter and his wife was home. And the reason is, can you give us what the reason is? What occurred on January 6th? The objections, right?
Antifa.
No, the objections.
The objections?
The objections to the Electoral College. When the Republicans objected to the, I call it a subterfuge election. A lot of people call it a subterfuge election. But Senator Josh Hawley objected. No, I'm talking about the objections. Senator Josh Hawley objected to the state of Pennsylvania, and Senator Cruz objected to the state of. He objected to Arizona. When the first public senator to say he was going to object was Senator Josh Hawley. He said that the people in Missouri and his constituents had the avarice to be heard. He did not want to abate the voices of the American people. And so he objected to the state of Pennsylvania. When that news started breaking out, when it broke out on Fox News, when it broke out on CNN and all these media outlets, the left went crazy. I would note, however, the last 20 years that a Republican has been elected, a Republican president has been sworn in. Nancy Pelosi, Senator Klobuchar, Senator Blumenthal, Senator Cory Booker, Senator Coons. You have even several other senators. You have Representative Omar, you have Representative Ocasio-Cortez. They all objected to every election, like Republicans have. And yet, the hypocrisy from the left is really a synchronized amount of hypocrisy. Because now they basically say to Republicans, we can object, but you can't. And you can inquire, how does this make sense? Right?
Exactly. It's hypocritical.
It's called the 14th, the 12th Amendment of the United States. The 14th has to do with citizenship and the national relation process, so I apologize for that. The 12th Amendment says that on January 6th, the Senate and the House gathered to count the slate of electors from all 50 states to certify an election for the Vice President-elect and the President-elect of the United States of America. That also states, because it keeps on going, it's obviously a large amendment, it goes on and says, if a representative and a senator meet and concur on a given state, the objection must be written in writing and signed by a senator. That means, as you saw, Representative Paul Gosar and Senator Ted Cruz, they're from two distinctive chambers of Congress. They both objected to Arizona. That immediately conducts a 2-hour debate separately. So the Senate goes into debate for 2 hours and the House goes into debate for 2 hours. And obviously in that debate, because we live in a very polarized world, the Democrats said, you know what, we can care less about the voices of the American people. We're just going to curtail the voices of the American people because our guy won, because Joe Biden was elected president. I would note as well that 70% of Republicans, 30% of Democrats stated that this election was fraudulent. That they didn't believe that this election was a voracious election or a scrupulously conducted election. And the Democrats didn't care about it. They just kept on with it. And also, you take, so that's just one example of cancel culture. You take a look at Twitter. Anybody that said that there was election fraud, this statement is completely baseless and false. Immediately, Twitter fact checked them. They didn't do that when Democrats would still raise their objections when it came to the election for President Bush. They didn't do that.
Not to mention, they also condemned the acts of the so-called Black Lives Matter movement. It started when a certain police officer by the name of Derek Chauvin kneeled to someone's neck, which is, as y'all well notably known, George Floyd, which got which the news came all over the world, and amount of support to him came, and not everyone knows the full story of this guy. Well, people as they love to claim it's oh, he didn't deserve to die, which I agree with, but it's the way how he has been seen as. People are seeing him as a hero, and that makes me sick. People don't. The thing is that people don't know about his past. You want to know a fun fact about George Floyd? He was actually a convicted criminal. He actually does illegal stuff. He brought a fake $20 bill to a store. He put a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach. And he probably done some other stuff. What makes you think he got arrested in the first place? With that incident. So, yeah, they love to always distract us from the bigger picture. That's what they love to do.
Society, yesterday when I spoke to the commissioner, I told him in these exact words, society is diluting in terms of its luminary. I said it just like that. In other words, society's intelligence is reducing. And I also talked about Dr. Seuss.
Exactly.
I talked about Mr. Potato Head. I talked about the Cat in the Hat.
Talk about Gina Carano.
But Gina Carano is one of the more indispensable stories because one can bring up the codes in that Hollywood is a very sectarian liberal business world. Hollywood is business, okay?
And satanic, as well as with as most of y'all probably know, there is this rapper, singer, you can call him whatever you want, by the name of he calls himself
Lil Nas
X. It's Lil Nas X. And basically, he made this song with this music video. I didn't sing it. I didn't freaking, I didn't listen to it, and I definitely don't plan on doing so. It's called Montero, Call Me By Your Name. And basically, it's to do with Satan, and it's basically him sucking on Satan, man, and that's just wrong, and he's also selling shoes. And it was with the Nike logo in it, but the good thing is that Nike sued him for that, and that's a good thing.
And the other thing is, as you said about Lil Nas X, right? If you go on CNN and you say that the Satan shoes that this guy released are bad, if you say they're calamitous, or if you say they're grievous, they're terrible shoes, and what he's doing is inappropriate, an absolute disgrace, they will get you, they'll mute, first of all, what they did to Kayleigh McEnany, they'll mute your audio, and then they'll kick you off their social media, they'll kick you off their platform while you're speaking.
Wrong.
It's society favors Satan over God. And the left, it's great what he's doing. He's a social justice warrior, as they say. Someone else they call a social justice warrior is Hitler. They think Hitler is some sort of an icon because they copy Hitler. They copy his actions. What happened in Nazi Germany? Hitler brainwashed all the Germans. He said every single Jew is a terrible person. and we're going to take care of them. And if you look up to a Jew, then you're not an actual German, you're not a patriot. And then they lied about the concentration camps. Then, if you spoke on defense of a Jew, they would kill you. You had no freedom of speech in Nazi Germany. In Cuba, it's the same thing. Venezuela,
And
it's
here
the same
it's happening too.
thing. It's happening now
With like
too.
they're putting children in cages and they're separating families.
And the media doesn't cover that. And we heard 4 years, kids in cages under President Trump, and now under the Biden cages, the media doesn't cover it.
I wonder why.
And then they don't cover the fact that Joe Biden said that. Oh no, not Joe Biden. Jen Psaki. She said, obviously the circle back queen. I've said it time and time again. She goes ahead and say, we're going to be the most transparent administration because the last administration wasn't, and I quote, transparent. To Jen Psaki, is it transparent to lie about having 6,000 illegal aliens crossing the border illegally a day, which on a monolithic amount goes to like 42,000 a week, then goes to 1 million in 5 months, 2 million in 10 months? Is that being transparent? And then you go ahead and you don't let the media enter the border facilities? Is that being transparent? Again, the left extradites intelligence. They give up on it because they don't have it. They might not know what the word transparent means. They might have confused it with not being transparent, so who knows. But if you take a look at the border crisis, right?
Yeah.
There are families of kids that are being forced. That, like, the families of children crossing the border illegally are paying money to sex traffickers and human traffickers, or the coyotes as they're called, to give them $8,000 per child. You know what the sex traffickers do? They force those same children to cut the fingers, the toes, the arms, the legs, the eyeballs of their fellow friends the same age as them. I'm talking about kids 5 to 10 years old. Why do they do that? Because they want to create this scenario where, oh, this my child, because they identify it as the parent. Go ahead and they cross the border and say, look, my child's missing an eyeball, my child's missing a toe, please, it's the violence in our country.
As an excuse.
It's a really vitriolic setting in our country, the action that's occurring in our
Basically,
country
like, it's like a weak way to create an excuse to go across the border. It's just wrong.
It's an excuse. It's a very
It's
sophisticated
sick. It
excuse.
makes it sick.
And yet, Jen Psaki says that they're being very nice to illegal immigrants. Really? Nice? Okay, so I guess cutting fingers off, cutting legs off, forcing other people to cut the eyeballs off of children who are crossing the border illegally.
Injuring their own citizens.
That seems something nice, according to Jen Psaki. But they didn't report that in the news media. If President Trump would have not let the media into the border facilities, they would have had their heads on fire. They would have called him a dictator. I mean, they still have. They would have called him a Hitler. They would have called him whatever they wanted. Yet, there's no one can bring up the syllogism. They're not doing that now. Why? Because this is bad optics. This would immediately, probably, if the media covered this, the people who voted for Joe Biden, they would not vote for him again.
Exactly.
Because one of the main reasons they voted for him is for feelings, not facts. Can you imagine?
Facts don't care about your feelings.
That's facts. Ben Shapiro, right there.
Yeah.
That's the best quote that any political commentator has ever made in their lifetime.
They're so stubborn. It was like, oh, they've been trying to impeach this guy ever since he got his foot into office. 2 times. And Trump's got away with it 2 times. Rightfully deserved. And wanna know why they try to impeach him? Because they want his ass out of there, bro. They want his ass out of there, bro.
They're scared of him.
Yeah, they're scared of him. Like, they're scared of all the good he's gonna do and, like, how much they're gonna try to expose the Democratic Party.
You know, I think we should take a look at what Jen Psaki said about being the most transparent administration. I think we should take a look at that.
Yeah, I should take a look at that.
It is another duplicitous. It's a duplicitous statement is what it is.
Yeah.
And they're actually being less transparent than the Obama administration, the Bush administration, the Reagan administration, than the Clinton administration, than the Carter administration, than the Eisenhower administration, or whatever administration you want to call it. They're being the least transparent administration. And the border crisis it's a very serious crisis. We're having the biggest surges, the most brilliant surges in 45 years since we've had the border. So let's cut over to Jen Psaki saying that they are the most and single most transparent administration.
The president talked about the importance of kids going back to the classrooms. In many schools all across the country, they are not going back to the classrooms, and there aren't imminent plans to do so because teachers' unions say that they want their teachers to be vaccinated first, even though the CDC says that's not required. How are you going to deal with that? And are there any discussions about saying to teachers' unions, you have to go back to the classrooms?
Well, first, actually, 76% of schools do have teaching, do have kids in the classroom for part of the week, and about 46% are back 5 days a week, and we expect that to continue to increase over time.
The president said the majority. He wants the majority
Right,
to be
by
back
day
5 days a
100,
week.
and
Yes.
we're on track to meet that objective. I will say that we took a step in this administration to prioritize teachers through our pharmacy program. That program is working, it's effective, teachers can go, they are prioritized at pharmacies. It's something we had the power to take and implement, and we feel it's very much in line with the CDC guidelines, because it is one of the mitigation steps, and it's a step we had the power to take and put into place. We actually don't see an issue coming up with schools not reopening. They are reopening, more are reopening every single week, and we certainly feel we're on track to meet our goal.
And when you look at some of the polling as it relates to the vaccinations, still about 30% of adults say they don't plan to get one. How do you get things back to normal with those types of figures, and when specifically do you plan to move forward with the vaccine campaign to try to improve education?
It's launching, Kristen. It's happening. We are launching a public campaign. There are some details that have been out and reported, I believe, in the Wall Street Journal. We'll get all that information out to all of you. I will say that what we have learned from our own data is that part of our investment and focus needs to be in trusted voices and trusted partners. We've seen some improvement in confidence among a range of communities in the efficacy of the vaccine. That's good news, right? What we have seen concern about, and what we still have concern about, is access, and that is the big issue. Because now, when we start to get to the point where we are trying to reach more and more communities, of course, vaccinate adults, Americans in this country. A lot of people can't take a day off to go get a vaccine. They don't have the flexibility to be in the slot available. They maybe can't drive 3 miles to their local pharmacy. So our big investment right now is in access. That means increasing investments in mobile units, in community health centers, in mass vaccination sites. But it also means, in terms of the public campaign, investing in trusted voices and empowering local groups and organizations to have the funding, the information, and the assistance they need.
Our current White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, cannot do her job, so instead, she circles back.
I'll circle back if there's more I can share with you, but I'll circle back if there's more to convey. I'll have to just circle back with you. We can circle back. I'm happy to circle back, so I can circle back. I will have to circle back on that one, but I'll have to circle back. We'll circle back, certainly circle back. I will have to circle back on that one. I hate to disappoint you, but I will have to circle back with you on that as well.
Now she finally did decide to circle back. Jen Psaki. She circles back.
I often
Circles back.
I'm going to
Circle back. Jen Psaki.
I'll circle back if there's more I can share with you, but I'll circle back if there's more to convey. I'll have to just circle back with you. We can circle back. I'm happy to circle back, so I can circle back. I will have to circle back on that one, but I'll have to circle back. We'll circle back, certainly circle.
All right, so Jen Psaki, she likes to say it many times where she's the most transparent, that she doesn't abnegate the lives of millions of children all around the world, that they're very humane people, but the photographs and the videos show otherwise. Jen, and I think you and Joe Biden know it. I think your subterfuge ideologies, your very charlatan excuses are really no match for the American people, and they're much more supercilious, what is pansy or intelligentsia. And we spoke about cancel culture. We spoke about Dr. Seuss being canceled. We spoke about the Cat in the Hat being canceled. We spoke about Mr. Potato Head being canceled. And this is all simultaneously occurring while schools are having pro-transgender books, pro-homosexuality books, anti-religion books in the schools. And the left contemplates this is something every American should be, what is gregarious and halcyon with, that they should all be proud of it. But I think it's another obstacle.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, you know, cancel culture, that's something that can end a country. You look at what happened in Cuba and Venezuela. Government has
They think they have the power to do whatever they want. Like, yeah, that's true, but like you can't just like you can't abuse power like that, you know? Like people have to have their own voices in life and like and everything of like what's going on, you know.
In those countries, government has a really, and I would say, an accruing amount of power, right? They have a broad-denaging amount of power. They have more power than their citizens do. When that happens, the government, whichever party has parochial control of the government, can control whatever they want. If it's leftist, like now it is, because the entire Congress is Democrat-controlled, they're going to cancel every conservative they want. Yeah. And that can't happen because it's already happening. Their definition of prosperity, of peace, of freedom is actually the antipode. It's the opposite. By freedom, they mean only liberals can have freedom. By voices, by opinions, by the First Amendment, by freedom of speech, they mean only liberals can have freedom of speech. And that shouldn't happen in this country.
Everyone should have their own freedom of speech.
Everyone.
Every single citizen that lives in this country deserves a voice, deserves to have freedom.
Whether you're liberal, whether you're conservative, whether you're libertarian, whether you're part of the Green Party anymore, the more dearth parties, you should have a platform. You should be able to speak. You should be able to share your own thoughts regarding certain issues. But the left doesn't think so. Neither is Joe Biden, neither is Jen Psaki.
And neither is the government.
The government is the left, actually. That is the left. They've always wanted the full power of centralized government. That's always been their cupidity, to vaticinate that with full governmental control, the less individual liberty, the less voices the people have, the more power they have, which means the more prosperity they get. That is the definition of liberalism, and that is also the definition of communism. It's a very scrupulous definition of it. But the left doesn't think that what they're doing should put them, what they're doing is somehow something that the American people are apoplectic, but that says, well, if you look at the statistics, it's much more different than they're probably taking a look at some statistics there that were given to them in a very subterfuge manner, that somehow the people love to have their voices canceled, and that it's great to have your voice canceled. And, you know, that's why we created this program, because we're not going to cancel anyone's voice. Not like the left does.
You're free here, dude. Like, if you want to share something here, then we are always down to let you hear, man. Like, you're safe here, man. Like, you're safe here.
You know, that was the issue.
If you want to discuss anything here, feel free. Because we will accept your voice. We are not like the others. We're not like the left. We will accept your voice.
You know, and I think one of the most reminiscent, I'll conclude with this, right? One of the most reminiscent, one of the most opportunist cases that are very indispensable, that would have ended freedom of speech, is Citizens United Federal Elections Commission. In Citizens United Federal Elections Commission, Citizens United was a conservative corporation that created a movie that was, I would say, saying contumelious, insulting things about Hillary in election year when she ran in 2008 against Barack Obama. And the Federal Election Commission, which is in charge of elections here in the United States, they sued Citizens United. They said that no corporation, conservative or liberal, should ever criticize a politician.
Yeah.
So the inquiry in the courts was, should the American people be able to have their opinions regarding politicians? Should they be able to criticize a politician in office? 4 justices said no, that they have no part in criticizing a politician. If you can't criticize the people you voted into office, do you have a country? So basically what those justices said, I can tell you the names: Justice Sotomayor, Justice Souter, Justice Stevens, and Justice Breyer. Those are the 4 justices that said the people should not have voice. They shouldn't have a voice when it comes to, basically they said the voices of the people should be curtailed, that they shouldn't be able.
They don't deserve to live in this country. They don't deserve to own this country as like they think they do, you know.
They said the voices of the people should be something abated. That, quite frankly, that no individual, no American citizen should be able to criticize any politician. We vote for politicians. We vote them into office. We give them their apogee of power. We put them in their position. They don't vote for us. We vote for them. Without us, they're not who they are. And those 4 justices, I think, should retire. immediately. I think they should resign. It's not because they're liberals, but because of the things they side with. If it weren't for the 5 conservative justices and Justice Kennedy, who was a little bit conservative, a little bit liberal, and who was replaced by Justice Kavanaugh, if that case wasn't decided the way it was decided, we wouldn't have freedom of speech. The First Amendment would be absolutely excised from eternity.
And without the First Amendment, you don't have a country, you don't have anything. You just have like a big piece of land with people on it. That's it.
What you have is a monarch. It's a monarchy is what you would have if you don't have the First Amendment. Now the left wants to come for the 10th Amendment. They want to control the states. The left wants to come for the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. They think that their people shouldn't necessarily have the right to bear arms, and they always bring up this sophistical, illusory-like scenario all the time in defense in terms of all weapons must be banned. No, target the criminals. Target the criminals. Criminals will be criminals if they're going to plan a mass shooting. They're going to cross the border illegally, or they're going to buy their weapons off the black market. Don't punish law-abiding citizens, because if it's a grandma, or if it's a grandpa, or if it's let's say you at your house and with your mom, and say it's a single mom, and a guy comes in, an illegal immigrant or something,
trespassing,
and he has a gun, and then that woman doesn't have a gun. That mom doesn't have a gun. So guess what? That's 2 people dead. Because the left...
And that right there is why our Second Amendment is very important.
The left likes to target the left likes to target the American people. They have the covet, they have the yen to target the American people. I don't see them targeting rapists, criminals, sex offenders, sex traffickers, human traffickers. They don't have the right to target them, but they have the cupidity to target their people. And that in itself, I think is one of the reasons why we're not liberals. That's one of the main reasons you shouldn't vote for a liberal. It is an ignominy what is occurring in this country, how the left wants to rewrite history, and they want to rewrite 2,000 years of our Constitution, of our way of life. And I honestly think that cancel culture, unfortunately, if the left remains in power, is only going to get much worse. And I'll close with these words. Without freedom of speech, you have no country. Without America, there is no peace. And without peace, there is no freedom. So thank you.
Chaos instead.
So thank you. God bless you. God bless America.
With your help, we will take back the House. We will win the Senate. And then a Republican president will make a triumphant return to the White House. And I wonder who that will be. Who will that be?
Donald Trump.
Who will that be?
President Trump.
Who will that be?
Donald Trump.
Who will that be?
President Trump.
We have gone from America first to America last. Democrats are vicious. Remember this, it's true.
Who would have thought that within 33 days we'd be bombing the Middle East? You can French kiss the guy next to you, yelling abolish the police.
With your help, we will take back the House. We will win the Senate. And then a Republican president will make a triumphant return. Who will that be?
Donald